Romiyim, Romans, chapters 5 through 8. Therefore, having been declared right by belief, we have peace with Elohim through our Adon Yahushua HaMashiach, through whom also we have access by belief into this favor in which we stand, and we exalt in the expectation of the esteem of Elohim. And not only this, but we also exalt in pressures, knowing that pressure works endurance, and endurance approvedness, and approvedness expectation. And expectation does not disappoint, because the love of Elohim has been poured out in our hearts by the Ruah HaKodesh, which was given to us. For when we were still weak, Mashiach in due time died for the wicked. For one shall hardly die for a righteous one, though possibly for a good one someone would even have the courage to die. But Yahuah proves his own love for us, in that while we were still sinners, Mashiach died for us. Much more then, having now been declared right by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. For if being enemies we were restored to favor with Yahuah through the death of his bane, much more having been restored to favor, we shall be saved by his high. And not only this, but we also exalt in Yahuah through our Adon Yahushua HaMashiach, through whom we have now received the restoration to favor. For this reason, even as through one man sin entered into the world, and death through sin, and thus death spread to all men, because all sinned. For until the Torah, sin was in the world, but sin is not reckoned when there is no Torah. But death reigned from Adam until Moshe, even over those who had not sinned according to the likeness of the transgression of Adam, who is a type of him who was to come. But the favorable gift is not like the trespass, for if by the one man's trespass many died, much more the favor of Yahuah and the gift in favor of the one man, Yahusha HaMashiach, overflowed to many. And the favorable gift is not as by one having sinned, for indeed the judgment was of one to condemnation, but the favorable gift is of many trespasses unto righteousness. For if by the trespass of the one death reigned through the one, much more those who receive the overflowing favor and the gift of righteousness shall reign in high through the one, Yahusha HaMashiach. So then, as through one trespass there resulted condemnation to all men, so also through one righteous act there resulted righteous declaring of high to all men. For as through the disobedience of one man many were made sinners, so also through the obedience of the one many shall be made righteous. And the Torah came in beside, so that the trespass would increase. But where sin increased, favor increased still more, so that as sin reigned in death, even so favor might reign through righteousness to everlasting high through Yahushua HaMashiach our Adon. What then shall we say? Shall we continue in sin to let favor increase? Let it not be. For shall we who died to sin still live in it? Or do you not know that as many of us as were immersed into Mashiach Yahshua were immersed into his death? We were therefore buried with him through immersion into death, that as Mashiach was raised from the dead by the esteem of the Father, so also we should walk in newness of high. For if we have come to be grown together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also of the resurrection, knowing this, that our old man was impaled with him, so that the body of sin might be rendered powerless to serve sin no longer. For he who has died has been made right from sin. And if we died with Mashiach, we believe that we shall also live with him, knowing that Mashiach, having been raised from the dead, dies no more. Death no longer rules over him. For in that he died to sin once for all. But in that he lives to Elohim. So you also reckon yourselves to be dead indeed to sin, but alive to Elohim in Mashiach Yahushua our Adon. Therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body, to obey it in its desires. Neither present your members as instruments of unrighteousness to sin, but present yourselves to Elohim as being alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness to Elohim. For sin shall not rule over you, for you are not under the law, but under favor. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under law, but under favor? Let it not be. Do you not know that to whom you present yourselves servants for obedience, you are servants of the one whom you obey, whether of sin to death, or of obedience to righteousness? But thanks to Elohim that you were servants of sin, yet you obeyed from the heart that form of teaching to which you were entrusted. And having been let free from sin, you became servants of righteousness. I speak as a man, because of the weakness of your flesh. For even as you presented your members as servants of uncleanness and of lawlessness, resulting in lawlessness, so now present your bodies as servants of righteousness, resulting in kodashah. For when you were servants of sin, you were free from righteousness. What fruit, therefore, were you having then, over which you are now ashamed? For the end thereof is death. But now, having been let free from sin, and having become servants of Elohim, you have your fruit resulting in kodashah, and the end everlasting high. For the wages of sin is death, but the favorable gift of Elohim is everlasting high in Mashiach Yahusha, our Adon. Or do you not know, brothers, for I speak to those knowing the Torah, that the Torah rules over a man as long as he lives? For the married woman has been bound by Torah to the living husband, but if the husband dies, she is released from the Torah of her husband. So then while her husband lives, she shall be called an adulteress if she becomes another man's. But if her husband dies, she is free from that Torah, so that she is not an adulteress, having become another man's. So, my brothers, you also were put to death to the Torah through the body of Mashiach, for you to become another's, the one who was raised from the dead, that we should bear fruit to Elohim. For when we were in the flesh, the passions of sins through the Torah were working in our members to bear fruit to death. But now we have been released from the Torah, having died to what we were held by, so that we should serve in newness of Ruah and not in oldness of letter. What then shall we say? Is the Torah sin? Let it not be. However, I did not know sin except through the Torah. For also the covetousness I knew not, if the Torah had not said, "You shall not covet." But sin, having taken the occasion through the command, worked in me all covetousness. For apart from Torah, sin is dead. And I was alive apart from the Torah once, but when the command came, the sin revived, and I died. And the command which was to result in chai, this I found to result in death. For sin, having taken the occasion through the command, deceived me and killed through it. So that the Torah truly is Kodesh, and the command Kodesh, and righteous and good. Therefore, has that which is good become death to me? Let it not be. But the sin, that sin might be manifest, was working death in me through what is good, so that sin through the command might become an exceedingly great sinner. For we know that the Torah is spiritual, but I am fleshly, sold under sin. For what I work, I know not. For what I want, that I do not practice. But what I hate, that I do. But if I do what I do not want, I agree with the Torah that it is good. And now it is no longer I that work it, but the sin dwelling in me. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwells no good. For to want is present with me, but to work the good I do not find. For the good that I want to do, I do not do, but the evil I do not want to do, this I practice. And if I do that which I do not want, it is no longer I who work it, but the sin dwelling in me. I find therefore this law, that when I want to do the good, that the evil is present with me. For I delight in the Torah of Yahuah according to the inward man, But I see another law in my members, battling against the Torah of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin which is in my members. Wretched man that I am! Who shall deliver me from this body of death? Thanks to Yahuah through Yahusha HaMashiach our Adon. So then with the mind I myself truly serve the Torah of Yahuah, but with the flesh the law of sin. There is then now no condemnation to those who are in Mashiach Yahusha, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Ruah. For the Torah of the Ruach of the High in HaMashiach Yahushua has freed me from the law of sin and of death. For the Torah being powerless in that it was weak through the flesh, Yahweh having his own bane in the likeness of flesh of sin, and concerning sin, condemned sin in the flesh, so that the righteousness of the Torah should be completed in us who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Ruach. For those who live according to the flesh put their minds on that of the flesh, but those according to the Ruach, that of the Ruach. For the mind of the flesh is death, but the mind of the Ruach is high and peace, because the mind of the flesh is enmity towards Elohim, for it does not subject itself to the Torah of Yahuah, neither indeed is it able, and those who are in the flesh are unable to please Elohim. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Ruach, if indeed the Ruach of Elohim dwells in you. And if anyone does not have the Ruach of HaMashiach, this one is not his. And if HaMashiach is in you, the body is truly dead on account of sin, but the Ruach is high on account of righteousness. And if the Ruach of him who raised Yahushua from the dead dwells in you, he who raised HaMashiach from the dead shall also give high to your mortal bodies through his Ruach dwelling in you. So then, brothers, we are not debtors to the flesh to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you are going to die. But if by the Ruach you put to death the deeds of the body, you shall live. For as many as are led by the Ruach of Elohim, these are sons of Elohim. For you did not receive the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you received the Ruach of adoption as sons, by whom we cry out, Abba, Father. The Ruach himself bears witness with our spirits that we are children of Elohim. And if children, also heirs, truly heirs of Elohim, and co-heirs with HaMashiach, if indeed we suffer with him, in order that we also be exalted together. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the esteem that is to be revealed in us. For the intense longing of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of Elohim. For the creation was subjected to futility, not from choice, but because of him who subjected it in anticipation, that the creation itself also shall be delivered from the bondage to corruption into the esteemed freedom of the children of Elohim. For we know that all the creation groans together and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now. And not only so, but even we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Ruach, we ourselves also groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for the adoption as sons, the redemption of our body. For in this expectation we were saved. But expectation that is seen is not expectation. For when anyone sees, does he expect it? And if we expect what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with endurance. And in the same way the Ruach helps in our weaknesses, for we do not know what we should pray, but the Ruach himself pleads our case for us with groanings unutterable. And he who searches the hearts knows what the mind of the Ruach is, because he makes intercession for the Kodashim according to Elohim. And we know that all works together for good to those who love Elohim, to those who are called according to purpose, because those whom he knew beforehand, he also ordained beforehand to be conformed to the likeness of his bane, that he become the firstborn among many brothers. And whom he ordained beforehand, these he also called. And whom he called, these he also declared right. And whom he declared right, these he also esteemed. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Truly, he who did not spare his own bane, but delivered him up on behalf of us all, how shall he not, along with him, freely give us all else? Who shall bring any charge against Elohim's chosen ones? It is Elohim who is declaring right. Who is he who is condemning? It is Mashiach who died, and furthermore is also raised up, who is also at the right hand of Yahuah, who also makes intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Mashiach? Shall pressure or distress or persecution or scarcity of food or nakedness or danger or sword? As it has been written, for your sake we are killed all day long, we are reckoned as sheep of slaughter. But in all this, we are more than overcomers through him who loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor messengers, nor principalities, nor powers, neither the present, nor the future, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahuah, which is in Mashiach Yahusha our Adon.